This is Creeping Death on normal and hard.
Leth, a representative of the 12, waits to speak to you as you descend into the sewers. Shouts from below can be heard in the next chamber. A poisonous vapor bubbles up from the water below, slaying those
So when I
without
the
magical
very first
protection.
time I ran this quest, I thought maybe I had to jump down to
Garco the
put the bridge
kobold
down. So I
stands
jumped down and
suspended
died
within death
instantly.
touch the
So you
gelatinous cube.
don't want to jump down
Before
here.
you
The
can
bridge will
react,
just come down
the
after some
huge
time.
corrosive ooze effortlessly consumes the members of the 12 on the platform below. Garco strikes a magical sigil and is teleported further into the complex. Garco's minions bar you from proceeding further into the sewer complex.
And I think these spots are just for, not for trap boxes, but for traps themselves. Yep. And so there's a lot of oozes in this quest. They're arcane oozes. Some of them are arcane oozes. It's really tough quest for a caster. Not so bad for a melee. Yeah, so it looks like the positioning is really tricky for that trap. All right. So I've run this quest many times, but it might be the first time I've actually run it. So here's some ooze. This isn't the bad one. The bad ones are the arcane oozes for casters. So they're very resistant to a lot of magic and healed by force and other things too. Or actually healed by acid, I think. But anyways, they're really tough on a caster. Pretty easy on a melee.
The sewer tunnel in the center of the chamber leads down to the lower sections of the complex.
So when you approach this, you'll see this kind of like red cube thing with the cobalt in them. And so we have to wait for that passes, then we'll go to the right.
Garco slides down the hallway inside his servant.
If you touch that,
Death
it's
touch
like
the
an instant
gelatinous
death
cube.
thing.
A single touch from the corrosive ooze
So we'll
could prove
see
deadly.
about the traps here. I've usually just run through these. Let me just disable them and make sure I should have enough time. Well, I either passed up the spot where the trap is, or they're maybe not disarmable. Let me get my skill boost on.
Before you stand 3 runes, placed here by
Alright, here he
members of
comes,
the
so I
12.
better get in there.
The runes create a sigil when activated. This sigil will depower Garko and teleport him to the corresponding sigil elsewhere in the complex.
Alright, so this is a series of jumping, which by the way, I'll preface, which I'm not super good at, but I'm going to go ahead and get it done. So you just kind of follow the path along the right to start. And then as you complete the various things, like when you pull this lever, then you can just basically go up the ladder at that point,
allowing easier access to this ledge.
And we should be good enough to go all the way to that second one there, yep. And so here's the first rune. And this part is a little bit, at least I find it a little bit tricky. So you want to run, jump onto, at least I think you can either jump on this or over it. I'm going to try to jump over it. I think that's probably easier. Whoa, fell down. So that's my thing. I'm just not very good at these jumping things. But fortunately, the ladder's at least down, so. And then you want to kind of aim for about here. And then just kind of go forward. And this part isn't too bad for me. Of course, you have to kind of navigate around this thing. And this will get a...
As the lever trips, a blast of air streams upwards from the pipe below.
It's a way to get back up, but I've actually never been able to use it effectively when I've tried it. Alright, so this part's also a little bit tricky. You just want to kind of jump here. And then we have to go to the right and to the left. And so usually I'm pretty okay at getting the first one, and then it's kind of getting back that I sometimes have trouble with. So should be okay if you kind of go right here and then here. And now the part I have trouble with sometimes is getting to the other side. So I'm going to start by just jumping here. And then you have to get to this other sort of middle grate. And then you need to get up on this thing, and this is probably the hardest part for me for whatever reason. Whoops, and I just did it again. Alright, so let me try this. I never have too much luck with this when I've fallen off in the past, but let's see. Oh, that actually worked pretty good. So let me... This lever basically makes that active. Alright, whoops, I just had a little lag spike. Let me try that again. Just had a little leg spike and then, whoops. Yeah, that's usually what always happens when I try it. So, I'm going to try again though, because that did work the one time. Alright, well I'm just going to go the way I normally go. Take this ladder. It's down. And so the quest, if you're better at the jumping part than me, which I'm thinking it's pretty safe to say most people are, then this part will probably be easier for you. For me, this is the thing about the quest that I find hardest, but I'm guessing most people are better at this than me. All right, so go here. I wonder if I could just go right to the other one directly. I don't think my jump skill is probably high enough. At epic levels, that's what I would do for sure. So I'm going to try it. Made it, I think, with the extra, with the Boots of the Mire set and the extra jump potion, that's enough to do it. So that's the third lever, and that's probably what I should have done, is just done that directly.
A hum can be heard from the hallway outside.
All right, so now we've done this part.
The teleportation sigil has been activated.
Which I sometimes joke about, this is the end fight for me.
This barrier prevents Garko from passing further into the dungeon.
You can safely go over here once that's down, and as soon as he gets to the other area, before he gets here, he's going to drop this barrier. So we just have to wait for him to now go over the right spot to drop the barrier. Now that we've pulled all 3 runes. I'm gonna get my freedom movement boots back on before I forget.
Magic washes over the gelatinous cube
so he went
when
over it.
Garko strikes the sigil. The kobold vanishes, teleported to a different section of the sewer complex.
So I'm not sure. I'm guessing the trap box is probably in here. Well, let me get this ooze first. These are one. Nope, nothing on the other side. So a trap. So let me get my ooze weapon out. And so this is another area where we have to worry about this guy. And let's see, which direction is he going now?
The poisonous vapor seems to have dissipated in your absence. The second sigil can be seen
so
on
now
the
we
far
could
side
just
of
sort
the
of jump
drawbridge.
over here.
Near the door on the other side of the chamber is an unlit rune. A fearsome horned devil stands between you and the rune you need to activate. The rune sparks to life as the lever is pulled. The hum of similar runes can be heard in the main chamber.
So once we leave this room,
glows beneath the fetid water.
you kind of go underwater, and you should be able to
a
find
sewer hatch next to the room. The underwater passage leads down towards
here.
An unknown location. Above the lever on the far wall is a rune. A strange sloshing sound can be heard from below your feet.
And so this is a collapsible floor, and I forget exactly where it is. I'm thinking it's around here. Yep, around here where you would go to. I should have counted the squares so I can remember for next time. But basically, it's going to collapse, so you want to make sure you're to a safe spot. These first ones are pretty easy. It's again more jumping, so this part is a little bit tougher. Really tough on a character with like some sort of an aura, because you can't really see these small spots real good as you're jumping on them. Not quite as bad on a melee with no auras. Alright, so these last two are the toughest ones for me. Actually, I think if I get this one, I go right to the end. So we grab this, and then take a jump potion. I should be able to go right to the end now. Whoop! Now, how did I mess that one up? Alright, let me try again. As I've mentioned many times, jumping's not my... these sort of precise jumping things are not my strong point in this game. Act quite the opposite. But I could usually get through them, even though, it's not my thing. So I'm going to have the hireling stand their ground, because that visual can be distracting on these small ones. There we go.
The rune activates, and the sound of a
And there's a ladder on the other side, so worst case scenario, if you miss your jump...
Magic resonates throughout the complex as the second sigil is empowered.
See if I can make it all the way here. Yep. And so since jumping's not my thing, I usually try to give myself every little advantage with gearing and potions to max my jump skill out. It just makes jumps a lot easier.
A flash of magic teleports him further into the complex.
Alright, so here's the ladder. So you just swim to the ladder, and then you want to make sure that the cobalt in the cobalt is gone, and then at this point you want to just kind of follow across the bridge to this next part we haven't been to yet. Looks like there's a trap. Quite a few traps in this quest. And at high difficulties, because of the traps, this is an area where you want to kind of draw them to you if you can.
Hostile sewer denizens bar your progress further into the sewer.
I think there's another trap down here, or is this the same one? I guess it's the same one. And here's the arcane oozes that are just really tough on casters. Some have tools to deal with it, but
A series of symbols are etched on the ground. They seem to control the drawbridge.
just jump off the side. If he runs into you, it's instant death. It gives you a little, enough time to kind of finish this once it's there. So this. And then you have to kind of get this one kind of activated. Alright, so now I'm just going to jump off and go to the other side because we have mostly that side done, and so all that's left is this side. Whoop, I think I messed up here. I want to go over this way to that ladder. Alright, so we should have a little time to get this done.
The drawbridge lowers and the last sigil appears.
Alright, so now he'll,
primed and ready for its victim.
when he goes over, he'll cross the bridge and activate the sigil, which will take us to the end area.
The sigil fires, and the gelatinous cube melts away from Gargo. In a flash, the kobold is teleported further in the complex.
Kind of funny that pudding's not too big to fit through there. and this is the end fight. This boss has
Garko the
a
Great
short
stands
range,
before you,
so if you
now stripped
go back
of
too
his deadly
far,
coat.
he is going to reset. So you don't want to have, like, you never want to get too close to that door. Like I'd say, as long as you stay on this side of the pillars, you're probably fine. But I'm going to clear these mobs first. We could probably just take him down at this point.
His last words, lamentations of his lost
On
hopes
higher
and
difficulties, you'll have to
curses
take
for his
those mob
enemies.
waves out because they it'll take too long to take the boss down. What's cool? It's a level 15 item. I'm looking for a level 15 gear set, and this certainly looks like it could make the cut. Insightful double strike, armor piercing, which I need, insightful combat mastery, which I definitely could use. So I'm really liking this item a lot. So it's even better to get this on normal. So I have a few. I'm starting to get to where I have a few level 15 items now, and if I do well in if I get a few more in the Sharn Cogs runs and some of the other level 15 quests, then I'll probably farm a little bit more gear to before I run the Keep on the Borderlands quests. Hopefully on Reaper, I'll have to see how either Reaper or Elite. I haven't decided yet, but I'd like to do that to try to get a good gear set for level 21. All right, I'm gonna get my reward, go right back in on hard. That's a pretty nice hat. So I'll just take something. I mean, I don't think it's good enough to sell in the auction house or keep, but I'll break it down for essences, and I'm going to go right back in on hard. I think I'm just going to give myself fire and for hard, the fire and the DPS buffs, and I'll give my hireling fire. I saw quite a bit of fire in the last one.
Leth, a representative of the 12, waits to speak to you as you descend into the sewers. Shouts from below can be heard in the next chamber.
Yeah, and I think it's that shouts from below message that kind of tricks people into thinking they need to jump down.
Magical protection.
So we'll just wait for the drawbridge to go down.
Garko the Kobold stands suspended within Death Touch, the gelatinous cube. Before you can react, the huge corrosive ooze effortlessly consumes the members of the 12 on the platform below. Garko strikes a magical sigil and is teleported further into the complex. Garko's minions bar you from proceeding further into the sewer complex.
So I'm going to use my bow because the trap kind of, you know, they're pretty much going to try to lure us in the trap if we go fight them there. And there, I think there might be a safe spot right in the middle of it. A little bit of one. In fact, let me try that. If I go right in the middle here. Alright, I know this trap is behind here. I thought it was. Maybe I'm wrong.
The sewer tunnel in the center of the chamber leads down to the lower sections of the complex.
And then we should see Darko, or Garko, in his... I think we may have to approach it a little bit, yeah. And then we'll see him in his gelatinous cube, and once he passes by, then we can go. And I didn't see the trap
Garko
box.
slides down the hallway inside his servant, Death
So I'm just
Touch,
gonna...
the gelatinous cube. A single touch from the corrosive ooze could prove deadly.
Alright, so I'm just going to pass through him. I'm not sure if these are disarmable, but he comes back kind of quickly.
Before you stand 3 runes, placed here by members of the 12. The runes create a sigil when activated.
Alright, so...
This sigil will depower
jumping.
Garko and teleport him to
boots
the
set on.
corresponding sigil elsewhere in the complex.
And we'll see if I can maybe do a little bit better job this time at the jumping. It wasn't too bad. I mean, a couple time tries, but...
A ladder slides in place, allowing easier access to this ledge.
Not a real big fan of that blowing thing. It never seems to work for me, but it did work one time, last time. But it always seems to get too far, and I can't, no matter what I do, I can't seem to adjust for it. I can go a little bit more here. And I think that worked pretty good last time, so I'm going to try that again. That's what I always do on epic levels. Of course, I usually have a max jump then. I'm a little below a max jump now, but that seems to be the best way to do it. So
As the
Alright,
third
well, that was a little
room is
better.
activated, a hum can be heard from the hallway outside.
So now
The teleportation sigil has
we
been
still have to
activated.
watch for Garko. Alright, just make sure he's not to the right or left. Alright, so now we could safely stand
This
here.
barrier
Before he gets here, he'll
Garko
go
from
over
passing
the
further into the
sigil
dungeon.
so that this opens up. We need to give Garko a haste potion so he could lower that sigil, or lower this barrier sooner.
Magic washes over the gelatinous cube when
There we
Garko
go.
strikes the sigil. The kobold vanishes, teleported to a different section of the sewer complex. The poisonous vapor seems to have dissipated in your absence.
And this
The
is
second
where we
sigil can be
jump
seen on
down
the
for
far
the
side of
Air
the
Trinkos
drawbridge.
fight.
Near the door on the other side of the chamber is an unlit rune. A fearsome horned devil stands between you and the rune you need to activate.
And because of this pudding, we're going to need to use this ooze weapon first. Still got some oozes here. Yep.
The rune sparks to life as the lever is pulled. The hum of similar runes can be heard in the main chamber. A rune glows beneath the fetid
so
water.
then we just go underwater
Through the murk,
to
you can just
see
make out a
the
sewer
hatch that's
next
open.
to the rune. The underwater passage leads down towards an unknown location. Above the lever on the far wall is a rune. A strange sloshing sound can be heard from below your feet.
So I'm going to say it's like, I'm just going to go 6 squares and see if that's right, just so you have a reference marker. And of course, 1 is sort of hidden here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so 6, basically 6 squares is about perfect. And I'm having my hireling stand her ground because sometimes when she's sort of phasing in and out, it gets a little hard to see. Forgot the jump potion, so if I had the jump potion, I would have landed on the ledge, but I forgot my jump potion.
And the sound of
There,
a lowering drawbridge
now.
can be heard in the distance. Magic resonates throughout the complex as the second sigil is empowered.
Whoops. Missed it, but that's okay, because now I could show you this ladder, which you could just run to. And not worry about any of the oozes or anything down here. And that's also how you get back if you fall down.
Garko curses as he strikes the second sigil. A flash of magic teleports him further into the complex. Hostile sewer denizens bar your progress further into the sewer.
always like to draw them back here on higher difficulties just so that you don't, of course, not really hard, but just to show you, just so we don't aggro the other group in front of it and ahead of them. And especially true of the hireling, because the hireling's a little more random in where they go, a little hard to control. And it looks like a few got aggroed anyways, but if you drag them back behind that door, that's a pretty good place to kind of break this into 2 fights instead of 1. That kobold has over 1,000 hit points, so you can see that they're much stronger. We're going to go ahead and use this shrine. I probably don't need to, but we didn't use the first few, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. Alright, and as a reminder, this puzzle is on the DDO wiki. It's not super hard to solve, but...
A series of symbols are etched on the ground. They seem to control the drawbridge.
Since it's timed and all, it's probably good to just, you know, if you... it's a good reference if you want to save a little time. Yeah, we're just going to jump over to this side and finish the puzzle from this side. And you just kind of hang out on this ladder while you wait for him to do his thing. I'm not sure, I haven't tested like how close you can get to the top. I just try to stay below the bridge level, and that's that. I know that works, but I'm sure you could probably go higher, but I don't want to really test it. And it's almost solved, just really close. Just 2 turns away, but it didn't want to take a chance. There you go. So now as soon as he crosses over that, this barrier will open for the end fight. If I was just a little faster at it, I would have not had to wait on the ladder. So that's strange. I'm going to call my hireling over now. I must not have got the puzzle. So call YO over and have her raise me. And let's see what I messed up. Should be fairly easy to fix it. Thought I got them all. Alright, these are all lit, so I must have missed one at the beginning part. Alright, let me go back there. But always a good reason why it's good to park the hireling, just in case for these type of things. Yep, and there it is. I did not
The drawbridge lowers
have
and the
one
last
turn.
sigil appears, primed and ready for its victim.
So at least you got to
The
see
sigil
the
fires,
instant
and
death
gelatinous
from the
cube
gelatinous
melts away
cube.
from Garco. In a flash, the kobold is teleported further in the complex.
Go here and try to get this trap. I was actually doing pretty decent against that black pudding. There's 2 of them. Alright, I'm going to give myself and wildfire fire. I forgot to buff there. Let's see, did I get this trap? Yep. So the other spot messages are just for the trap itself.
Garco the Great stands before you, now stripped of his deadly coating.
So even when I'm pretty much completely self-healing, I still like to have a hireling parked for the exact reason you just saw. It was kind of like a pretty careless death, you know, and it wouldn't have been any different on Reaper actually, whether it was Reaper or whatever. And so by having the hireling sort of on call, I was able to just summon the hireling there to raise me. And sometimes if the hirelings, if there's a mob and the hireling, he just reset. That was interesting. So I think YO actually did that, but that's fine. He'll go down pretty quick again. But that may have actually, probably my fault. Probably best to keep him like on this half of the building, really. So And so I think he was actually, like, that's all the spawns, because I'm pretty sure he was below half health from just strike-through damage. But because he got too close to the door, he reset to full. Not so bad on hard, but, you know, you really want to avoid that on Reaper because it takes a lot longer to take him down.
Garko crumples in defeat.
Especially
His
on
last
Epic.
words, lamentations of his lost hopes and curses for his enemies.
Alright. I'm going to get my end reward. So Spell Sword, that's an interesting one. I don't think I've seen that one yet. Some of these might only be, you know, at higher levels, so I haven't seen all these yet. But Resonance and Devotion, so that must be for, it's a Spell Sword, so it must be for maybe like a Bard or something. Well, I'm just going to grab this ring. It's a pretty decent looking ring. I'll probably just sell it to a vendor, or break it down for essences rather. And that is Creeping Death on normal and hard.